the real estate business is going to be a lot more scalable versus what it is today, because you won't have that friction uh, when it comes to knowledge.
Hi everyone! For this episode of my journey into data science, I am interviewing Apratim Biswas, who is the co-founder and CTO of two companies that use data science to improve the real estate industry, ROOV.AI and Realty Dynamics. Now, first of all, Apratim, I would like to say thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Thank
And
you.
and I would love to know what led you to create ROOV.AI and Realty Dynamics, and what gaps in the real estate industry were you determined to address?
So let's see. Those are two different problems. So first of all, real estate is one of the technologically slower to adapt kind of industry, um, which makes it challenging, but at the same time filled with opportunity. So the first one is Realty Dynamics. That's the one we started first. And for Realty Dynamics, if you look at what we offer, particularly for investors and developers in real estate, um, when they do due diligence, they have to look into so many things. So just to research a piece of property, they probably have at any given time like 10 different tabs open on their computer, and maybe even more. And then they have to call people to verify things. And I'll give some examples too. And what Realty Dynamics, what we were thinking at the time, which was that's the guiding philosophy, is we want to bring all of that in one place. And that's a lot of data, but it making it accessible and make it so that it's easily digestible, and you don't have to really look very hard for things anymore. So some examples. So first of all, the first thing you see when you go to Realty Dynamics are the parcel data. And that's the easiest thing to find, and easiest thing to find like out in the internet. But once you start looking deeper into it, it gets more and more complex. So for example, we have permit data, and not just permit data, we have like recently issued permit and pending permits. What does that mean? That means even before you see buildings starting anywhere, they have to get some permits from water management districts. And so with the pending permits, you see where all the interests are. So where the retail things are going to come up shortly. And you can track from the very beginning where they're applying for permits, and we update that every month. So every month you get a glimpse of where the projects are going to happen and what kind of projects are going to happen. We also have very hard to find things like utilities, and by utility I mean like potable water and wastewater, things like that. If you do it the traditional way, uh, it takes you about 7 days to hear back from the county, and even then, you only get information for just your property that you asked for. Uh, well, with our secret sauce, we have we have large sections like many of the counties in Florida. We covered that, and so you can get that easy access to those things. Another thing is our land buddy AI, which is so land development codes are very legal documents, and each jurisdiction, and I said jurisdiction because there are counties, there are cities, there are little townships, and they all have bunch of documents explaining what you can build in a certain piece of area land, and what you cannot do in those areas. So for example, in Hillsborough you have something called SMU6, which is a future land use for mixed use, suburban mixed use. And so what we do is we we collected all these land development code and we updated, and we made a RAG pipeline out of it so that you can actually chat with LandBuddy and get answers for your questions related to land development code. It's actually pretty dense. Those documents are very dense, as you can imagine. They're like 1,000 pages each count. And so if you if you look at all the documents that we have covered, we're easily in like 50,000 pages of documents that we have in the pipeline. So it makes the job a lot easier. And you can also chat with it about possibilities of how you can change this into that and things like that. We also have a feature to get contact information for property owners. All these things that's same separate from each other, but we bring it all together so that it's like one place for everything you want to do. We also have a workflow tool, so it's like a complete platform. So from the very beginning, you can actually export your projects directly from the map into your workflow, and it's a full featured workflow, and you can manage your entire project from there. So that was Realty Dynamics, right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a platform for the entire project cycle, and that's what we have. For ROOV, like you see a lot of like real estate listing that are just images, but if you want to make videos, then you have to go there and you have to be good at making videos, and it's also an expensive process. So with ROOV, you can just submit your images, and we're scaling at this moment our capabilities, but we can do that. What we do is we generate videos from those, and then we put custom narration on top, and whatever else message you want there to be, and yeah, you get a full video that you can use with your listings.
Wow. All very cool. I think you answered like 3 other questions in that one, but we'll we'll figure that out. It sounds like you're just creating tools for efficiency and more information available. Is that correct?
That's exactly it. Like
Yeah.
it definitely adds to the efficiency. It makes a job a lot easier, not
Mhm.
just not just like it makes it faster, sure, and then it also makes the job easier. And then yeah, also make your listings if you are in that side of real estate, not the investment and development side, but on the real estate agent and brokerage side where you have listings. It makes your job, like your listings are going to be a lot more attractive versus just
Mhm.
static pictures.
Mhm. For sure. Okay, so I'm sure you already touched up on this a lot in what you just mentioned, but focusing more on realty dynamics, what are exactly the data tools? Can you walk us through those that Realty Dynamics offers and how they help real estate professionals make data-driven decisions?
Okay, so you might have ideas or theories about what is a good piece of property, what is a
Mhm.
property that has the most amount of potential. And what we have is we have this advanced parcel search. And what you can do there is you can lay filter on top of filter on top of filter. I know for a fact that we have the most exhaustive filters out there
Mhm.
that you can lay on top of each other, and then you can find properties that meet your criteria. Your criteria might be different from somebody else, but this way you can decide what works for you. You know what I mean? So I think when it comes to data driven decisions, um, that gives you a lot of power. So all those different pieces of information I was talking about, we call them layers. So like pending permits, or you know um,
Mhm.
uh, maybe population growth, maybe uh, something else. But like you can layer all those on top of each other and find your perfect piece of property that you think is gonna grow. Do you know what I mean? So we give all the tools and the data to use data driven decision making. And then once you are done with decision making, then you can start your project. You take care of that too. So
Right. Oh, wow. With such important decision, such as getting a piece of real estate, you definitely want it to be backed by data.
yeah,
So I'm sure you're just offering the best that there is of that decision process.
I know we are. So I'm very
You
convinced, and
are. You are. Sorry. Point blank.
so I haven't seen anything. Actually, we haven't seen anything,
Yeah.
that matches this. There are things out there that does one or two things, this or that. You know what I mean? Like some just handle permit data, some just handle parcel data,
Hmm.
but you're not gonna find anything that's exactly that comprehensive.
Right. Okay, so certainly the introduction of data science in real estate tools has been instrumental. I also know that AI and machine learning are reshaping industries as well. So I'd love to ask, how does Realty Dynamics apply these technologies to extract insights from real estate data?
So we have right now our biggest usage of AI is for Realty Dynamics is our Land Buddy AI, which reads through all those documents and gives you great answers and also help you analyze the documents. We also have plans to make like implement text to SQL. And so, like, we can ask questions directly, like, hey, find me a piece of land that's, I don't know, 20 acres and has this, this, and this. And it's going to
Mhm.
go and run the query and find your properties and then lay it on top of the map. And so that's what we have you know, uh, in our pipeline. It's one of the things. And for ROOV, we do like image to video generation along with image to image to and video to text narration. So there's a lot of AI that we use there, all modalities essentially. um, and data science wise, we have the whole stack. It's large volumes of data, and it's also spatial data. So everything comes with its, like, every piece of data has added complexity on top
Mhm.
of what you would expect from regular data. Because think about it, you can put, like, look at the map of the world or map of Florida in different ways. And like you can think of it as like little, like, different projections. You use different projections, that's the term. And you have to match everything properly so that everything fits right. Like, all these layers have to be projected to the
Mhm.
same projection. And and if you think about, like, joining things or merging, you think about it, it's essentially you're looking at all these geometries and you are merging geometries on top of geometries. So that is actually a pretty computationally intensive process. So we do all of that. So that's yeah, there is a lot of data science involved in that.
And that's for ROOV.AI?
No, that's for Realty Dynamics, because this is
Oh,
for
okay.
that. For ROOV particularly, the challenge is challenges GPUs essentially. Like, getting access to a lot of GPUs is hard. So there is quite a bit of engineering that goes in there. Like, instead of using full GPUs, we can create, like, partitions of GPUs
Mhm.
where each partition can process one job at a time. You know what I mean? So you can parallelize the process a lot, and that itself brings us down to things like what kind of precision in the model weights do we want, and then we have a lot of data science that goes into that to optimize the process that works for production.
That's awesome. So very, very exciting. Um, AI, machine learning, data science in both ROOV.AI and Realty Dynamics. I should have extended that question to both of them. But big changes. On that note, I'd love to ask what's next for Realty Dynamics or ROOV.AI for that matter. Are there any upcoming like innovations or milestones that you're especially excited about?
We have we we're a very ambitious team, and we
As you
have
should be.
we have big dreams.
Yeah.
So for Realty Dynamics, we're in the process of raising money and expanding it beyond Florida. You
Hmm.
know, and I'm pretty excited about it. The next destination probably is going to be something like Texas or South Carolina, one of the highly fast growing states. Um, and for we're also the other thing is we were just working on it like 30 minutes ago. Um, the UI, we're improving the UI too, so it'll make it a lot easier for users to use it and more intuitive than it is today. And for Roov, we are gonna let people re-render pieces and like make it more customized
Hmm.
so that they can change narration if they want. They can change a specific, say, your video is made of 15 frames, and you are not happy with one specific frame, and we we are working on getting it to a level where people would be able to change that small piece. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And things like that. So that, and then we also have another startup coming, and that one is in the works. I cannot divulge too much details about that, but it's coming.
Okay.
It's coming. Not too far from now. We're hoping to get something out, sometime in late summer or something. But I think this next one is actually has a lot of potential
Hmm.
for commercial real estate. But that doesn't mean that we're slowing down on Roov or Realty Dynamics. We're
Hmm.
keeping on them. So all of them are going to go full steam ahead.
Wow. That's exciting. You heard it here. New startup. Um, okay, so you better user experience, expanding like to different areas. Very innovative. Can't wait to see that come up. And all right, so one last question to wrap this all up. You just talked about the short-term advances for these companies, but in general, looking ahead for the real estate industry as a whole, how do you see it transforming long-term in the next 5 to 10 years?
This is something that our next startup really, really focuses on. But I'll tell you this: real estate is very word of mouth,
Hmm.
referral driven thing. Everything is you know if you have small circle or even a medium sized circle of people in real estate, that's kind of your source of information. We
Hmm.
are already attacking that in Realty Dynamics by giving you all the information so that you can
Hmm.
go beyond what your immediate network knows. um, One thing I believe is going to happen is people are going to have a lot more leverage on new projects, because they don't have to. Right now it's kind of like a vendor lock-in situation. You only have so many things you know about or your network
Hmm.
knows about, and that will change. It's going to be a lot more scalable.
Hmm.
the real estate business is going to be a lot more scalable versus what it is today, because you won't have that friction uh, when it comes to knowledge.
Will realtors, will they be just as important as they are today, or as more information is available to others, is that going to diminish?
I think it's gonna in a sense it's gonna democratize the process, because say you are a new real estate agent or a new broker in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's hard for you to figure out how to proceed. We
Mm-hmm.
give you all the tools that would help you to get there. You see what I'm saying? So it makes it gives you a lot of agency when it comes to making decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to execute, but it's going to be easier transition from being an inexperienced new real estate agent or new somebody new in real estate, wanting to do big things. And it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a big barrier right now that I believe is going to be not that big of a barrier in 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm. So people are still going to want to deal with a face when they're thinking
Right.
about buying, but there might be a little more competition between who they're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. So like people want, like, if you want to enter real estate, you will have a lot more tools 5 years from
Mm-hmm.
now than 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you are in a better place to compete versus how it
Mm-hmm.
was before.
Well, from the buyer's side, this all sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
And that's what the goal is, really. So that's exciting. Um, okay, so if anyone that's watching this wants to follow your work and your startups and how they're doing, where could they go?
I think LinkedIn is the best place. Plus, you can also visit our websites and see like what are the latest features, because
Mm-hmm.
our like the app, there is the app, but you also have like the front facing website, and we keep that very up to date. So you can do that too to see where we are with each of these products. And yeah, and yeah, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you again.